let me start over just for the sake of the recording. My name is Cheryl Sochet. I am the LVI America Director of Sales. Today's webinar is entitled iPad Integration with LVI Magnilink Cameras. The real goal today is not to go into a lot of depth about any one of our products that connect with iPads, or not to go into depth with our Magnilink Viewer app, but really to give you an overview of all of the different products that we have that can connect to iPads and all the different ways you might be able to do that. So again, we're going to explore our cameras that can be used when you think about somebody, say, in a VR context or in an education context, an end user at home, somebody in an employment setting. What are the different cameras that can be used to create a customized, mobile, powerful low vision tool? So we will have a good quick look at our Magnilink Viewer app. We're going to cover briefly 5 products that can connect with iPads. And then I want to talk a little bit about accessories for a more customized series of options. So we're going to start off talking about the foundation of all of it, and that is our Magnilink Viewer app. So on the slide, I have 2 pictures. The first picture is of somebody using one of our Magnilink iTab products and the Magnilink S product with an iPad. On the image, you can see that the user has the iPad camera looking at a textbook, and then our Magnilink S camera looking at something in the distance. The second picture is actually a screenshot from the App Store so that you can see what it looks like. And I'll describe it. It just says Magnilink Viewer for low vision users. And it has images from our app actually in the App Store. So our app, again, can be acquired through the Apple App Store. At present, we do not have a companion app for Android platforms. You do need to be running iOS 17.0 or higher. And you also need to make sure that the iPad that you're using with our Magnilink Viewer app has an M2 chip or higher. Our Magnilink Viewer app has some really great features. So the first one, customizable display options. A lot of the typical things, like you can adjust magnification, you can change color contrasts, different viewing modes. So your typical things that you look for in a video magnifying solution. One thing that is really unique about our product is you can go into the app into something called end user configurations and customize it even further. So as an example of this, we have a student here in Tennessee who is a reluctant assistive technology user. I think some of you may kind of know that experience. And this student was also very, very interested in the movie Wicked. So her TVI actually partnered with her to go into the end user settings and change the color of her icons, the color of some of the words in her interface to that wicked pink and green. And that encouraged her to actually use her technology. So very customizable. The second thing is our OCR integrated into the app is lightning fast. For those of you who have been around assistive technology for a long time and know the OCR technology and how it works. So OCR stands for optical character recognition, and you can use OCR technology to capture printed material, create a digital file that can then be read aloud or used in other ways. So the OCR with our Magnilink Viewer app and these iPads with M2 or higher chips is lightning fast. Excellent OCR and very, very, very fast. The third really interesting thing about our software, our Magnilink Viewer app, is a feature in the app called Notepad. And Notepad allows the user to capture, say, a worksheet or a form, and then within the app, use magnification tools, highlighting tools, maybe an Apple Pencil to be able to complete that document and then save it and send it off. So the same student that likes her wicked pink and green, she uses this tool to complete her Algebra 1 worksheets. So she'll put her worksheet under the camera, use that notepad tool, capture the image, and then she can pinch and zoom, zero in on a particular problem, use her Apple Pencil to solve that problem, use her pinch and zoom to zoom back down and go to the next problem, and so on. She can then save that worksheet and send it to her teacher. So that's a really great feature within our software. The third feature is subscription based. So this is an add-on, and it is our AI integrated into the Magnilink Viewer app. Lots of things you can do here. So you can use it for handwriting recognition. You can, in an educational environment, ask it to solve a mathematic equation, and it will do so step by step as a study tool for your students. It's also great at identifying colors. So we have users that will get a piece of clothing out of their closet, put it under the camera, and ask the camera what color it is. And in comparison with other methods of identifying colors, it has solid color recognition. And then the final one I want to mention about our app is the split screen functionality. So I want to discuss this two ways. One way is you can, within the app, split the screen so that you can use our distance camera for distance viewing and simultaneously on the other side of the screen within our app be using the iPad camera for near viewing tasks. A second way that we see people using this functionality is to put the app just on one side of the iPad screen and then use another iPad resident app on the other part of the screen. For instance, if you have a college student who is using one of our cameras and the iPad to record a lecture and using that distance functionality, they may have that part on one side of the screen. And then on the opposite side, maybe their favorite note-taking app like OneNote or Notability to be able to take those notes within that college class environment. The first product of the five I want to discuss that we use with our iPads is called the Magnilink iTab. So the Magnilink iTab is specifically designed for iPad users, and it is a compact and has a compact and ergonomic stand, and we'll tell you about some of the features of this product. The key features, and you're going to hear this one repeated over and over again, key feature is the camera is going to connect with a USB-C connection. And that USB-C connection will draw both power and will do the audio visual transfer from the camera. So it'll do both things. And it's that ergonomic stand is built out of high quality, lightweight airline grade aluminum. So it's very, very sturdy and lightweight. And again, through the app, we've got that OCR and those annotation tools. So the stand is a good idea for people who like that simultaneous ability to read something, maybe lift that iPad up and write underneath the iPad camera, and then maybe be simultaneously recording a lecture or doing something at distance. There are different model options with the iTab. So I'm going to skip to the second one first because that's the most commonly sold one. The iTab can come with an external camera. So if you're in a school environment and you just want simplicity, one and done, this is a popular choice. We are selling a lot of these days. The second option would be that iTab stand only without the external camera. And in that instance, you may want to use the device, the iTab stand, with another one of our cameras. And we'll talk about some reasons why that might be a logical solution in just a minute. The third thing to know about ordering an iTab is that the stand comes in multiple sizes for different iPad dimensions. Not every size iPad, but the iPad Pro, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, we have a stand for that. And then we also have one for the 13-inch iPad Pro. We have a stand for the 11-inch iPad Pro, which will also fit the 11-inch iPad Air. The second of the five products that I want to talk about that works well with iPad is our very, very popular Magnilink S. The full title of it is Magnilink S Premium 2. This is a lightweight foldable camera that in this instance can connect to your iPad with a again, with that USB-C connection. The Magnilink S, the S stands for student. This was developed actually for classroom settings. So it is a sturdy, it's about 4.3 pounds, and it is compatible with multiple platforms. So you could use this with just a regular monitor, and then you see there's a picture of the Magnilink S on the screen, and that picture shows there's a tactile keypad on the foot of the device. And instead of using software to control it as you would with with an iPad or with a PC or a Chromebook or a Mac computer, you can use this just with a standalone monitor and control it with those tactile controls on that foot. It is very lightweight, again, about 4.3 pounds, and easily transportable. You fold it down, pop it in our little case, throw it in your backpack, and off you go. The camera is exceptional. It has full HD and it has 10x optical zoom. So from the back of a classroom, you're going to have crystal clear images of the content that's being presented at the front of the classroom. And it integrates easily with our Magnilink Viewer iOS app and iPads. As with the Magnilink iTab product and the multiple options there, you have multiple options with the Magnilink S and using iPads. The first one might be to use the Magnilink S with that iTab stand. So instead of the iTab stands shipping with that integrated external camera, some people just get the standalone stand and use it with the Magnilink S. And we'll talk again in a minute about why that might be a logical choice. We also have a whole series of wireless products that's called the Magnilink Air series. And there are two that are particularly popular within that series that we'll talk about in a minute. But the Magnilink S is something that can be integrated into that family of products and used in that way. And then people can use the Magnilink S just with your iPad. If your iPad's in a folio or in some kind of case that has a kickstand, you just open your iPad up, turn it on, launch the app, use that USB-C, plug it right in, and off you go. So just as a standalone plug and play. The third product that I want to talk about, we've talked about the Magnilink iTab. We've talked about the Magnilink S. The third one is called the Magnilink Mini. This is a relatively new product for us, and it is selling very, very well. It is the little sister of the Magnilink S. We designed this one for people who want something that might be a little bit lower profile, maybe a little bit more lightweight, and a solution that is really heavily designed for that distance viewing feature. So there's a picture of the Magnilink Mini on the screen, and you can see again, there's a cord, and that cord is a USB-C connection. It has an extendable tripod design, so you can have it low profile and lower to the iPad, or you can raise it up a little bit if you've got that tall person sitting right in front of you. It is very lightweight, so about a pound. And it says on the screen here, dual camera system for near and distance. The way this one was designed is a little bit different than the S. You are going to use, you can see on the screen behind that, the camera head, there's a knob, and you use that knob to orient the camera for distance viewing, and then turn the knob so that it orients back down to your table. And then you can just eke out the camera a little bit, and I'll show you this in a minute for that near viewing. That near viewing, now we've got a different lens set in this particular camera to make sure that near viewing is crystal clear, as is the distance viewing, without a need for any type of accessory. We have had some people ask for some accessories, maybe a clamp where you can insert that tripod into a clamp to reduce footprint on a desk, and we are actively looking at that, and I expect to have an announcement about that coming soon. And then we have the big sister of the Magnilink S, the Magnilink Pro. This product has historically been more popular in Europe, but we are seeing excitement build for this product here in the United States, especially for some professional environments. The Magnilink Pro in this family is more like the Magnilink S than the Magnilink Mini. So let me rewind a little bit. The Magnilink Mini is only going to be compatible with a PC, like a Windows computer, or an iPad. Whereas the Magnilink S, that is going to be compatible with Chromebook, PC, Mac computers, iPads, and monitors. So the Magnilink Pro parallels the compatibility that the S has. So it is compatible with a Chromebook, a PC, Mac computers, iPads, and monitors. Uh, Two big differences here. The number one big difference is that camera. The cameras on the Magnilink Mini and the Magnilink S and that external camera that comes with the iTab, they are outstanding cameras with that 10x optical zoom, and they give you great clear images even from the back of the classroom. This product, however, has a 30x optical zoom. So if you think about professional work environments where somebody might be working on circuitry or jewelry making or maybe architectural drawings or schematics from an engineering point of view, this is exceptionally well suited for those sorts of tasks. This device is not 1 pound or 4 pounds like the Mini or the S. However, it is transportable. It folds down similarly to our Magnilink Zip and our Magnilink One products and fits in the same size case and is not difficult at all to move from one location to another. And then, so we've talked about the Magnilink iTab with that stand, and then we talked about the Magnilink Mini. We talked about the Magnilink S, the Magnilink Pro. The fifth group of products that I want to talk about that will work with iPads is from our Magnilink Air series. I don't have nearly enough time to do this particular product group justice. However, we do have extended webinars that talk about this system in detail. I do want to highlight a couple of different products within this group that people commonly use with iPads. So the magic with the Magnilink Air system is wireless connections. And I'm going to highlight a couple of products that are shown on the screen here, and then I'll describe a third one that actually is popular with iPad users. So the two that you see on the screen here, I have a picture on the top of the back of let's say a student with an iTab in front of her, and there's no camera that you can see that's connected to her iTab. However, off to the right on a different table is our Magnilink Air Go. She is connected to that 30x optical zoom camera wirelessly. So the unique thing about these wireless devices is multiple people could connect to something like that Ergo product. Another popular one in the series is the Magnilink Wi-Fi cam, and that is shown at the bottom of the screen. So that is a closed router product where you can connect your iPad wirelessly to that router and then get the feed from whatever camera you choose. In this instance, we're showing it with the external camera that can ship with that product. The other thing, before we have a live look at some of these products that I want to talk about, are accessories. So accessories, in some instances, can make all the difference between a customized solution that's really going to work for an education or a work environment or not. So there are LVI accessories, and then we're seeing customers finding their own accessories and ideas. So some LVI accessories that are interesting to consider when you're trying to find the right solution would be docking stations. We have a number of different types of docking stations that we use with our Magnilink S product. So one of them might be the docking station that has an XY table for somebody that does high volume reading. So they may have that docking station back at an apartment or a dorm or at home. And then take the Magnilink S out of the docking station and take it to class or to work or to another meeting type environment. Another docking station might be one that clips to the desk that you can insert your Magnilink S into. And again, that's going to save footprint space and give you more clear desk space for whatever your tasks that you have. Another accessory that LVI has, we have excellent cases for all of these cameras. They have high contrast orange interior. They have sturdy reinforced corners, and they are lightweight and do a great job of containing our products and protecting them. And as I mentioned earlier, we are really, really attuned to our customer base and listening to feedback. And so, some feedback that we've received recently, and I've taken to the leadership in Sweden, is what about some accessories for that Magnilink Mini? It does fine with the near and distance without accessories, which is pretty cool. But there's some instances where it might be helpful to be able to insert that Magnilink Mini into a docking station or a clamp to a desk, much as you can do with the Magnilink S. And we are looking at that. Some other accessories that we see, there are about 100,000 million versions of iPad stands. And for different types of environments, these iPad stands can be really a way to customize using an iPad and one of our cameras in a particular environment. I have seen some schools that will find an iPad stand that allows you to swivel the iPad from vertical to horizontal, or it may be on a swivel base where you can turn it easily to the right or the left. There are some that I've seen that double clamp onto a desk, so it has kind of a wide base, and you can manipulate that iPad into a lot of different positions to be able to take advantage of both that external LVI camera and the iPad camera. Another thing we're getting questions about, and we are looking to answer those questions, and we are seeing some of our customers try to solve, would be the use of hubs. You heard over and over again that these devices connect with your iPad through a USB connection. One of our products, the iTab, actually has a hub built into it, and that is so you can have multiple USB-C ports so you can have your iPad connected to power simultaneously to having your camera connected as well. So if you don't buy that iTab product and you just want to use your iPad and say a Magnilink S, well, what about a recommendation for a hub that you can plug straight into that USB-C, and maybe it'll give you the possibility to connect that camera and say a power bank. We are actively looking into that, and will communicate solutions that we find that work well for that purpose. We know that there are some of our reseller network that have had people, and especially in education environments, request power banks or solutions so that their students can recharge their iPad throughout the day. So, for instance, if a student is using a Magnilink Mini and an iPad that's in a stand, and they finish their class, power down their iPad, and maybe they've got a power bank in their backpack and they use a USB-C to USB-C connection to quick charge their iPad back up in between classes. And then a final accessory to think about would be cases. Again, with iPads, there are 800,000 million zillion cases out there, some of them with keyboards, some of them with kickstands, some of them protective for those individuals and students who may be a little rougher on their technology than others. So these are just some ideas to think about when it comes to coming up with a customizable solution with one of our cameras and your iPad and our Magnilink Viewer app. So let's have a closer look. I tried to set some things up here to be able to show you what some of these products actually look like. So let's kind of maybe talk about them from the order that we went through in the presentation. So the first one would be our iTab. So this is our iTab product. It's the one that I talked about that has the stand. We don't sell it with the iPad. The individual can bring their own iPad, or some in our reseller network, what they do is they bundle it and they will sell one of these with an iPad bundled in. So it just depends on where you're going to source this product. And again, you can order this either with, say, an external camera that there's a hole in the base and it's going to, you just pop this camera down into the hole. And so it's a one and done solution. You don't have to worry about a separate camera. You can use this one that comes with the version of this device that ships with an external camera. Another way you can use it is to plug in one of our other camera. And in this instance, I have our Magnilink Mini. So here's our Magnilink Mini, and it is plugged into this particular iTab product. And I mentioned that we have good AI integration, and so I just want to give you a quick taste of that. So I've got my icons down on the bottom, and I'm going to move over to the one that says AI and hit that one. It captured the image that I had underneath the camera, which was a handwritten note from one of my customers. So now I'm going to there's a button here and it says image functions. You can see on the screen that it has captured my image, and it has a statement up here: the assistant will answer the questions regarding the following image. So I'm going to hit this button that says image functions, and I'm going to hit handwritten, and let's see what it does.
Cheryl, thank you for your support of our resource open house on the 6th of January 2024.
So super fast, it captured that handwriting. And this is actually a doctor, and he's great guy, great doctor, maybe doesn't have the neatest handwriting, and it captured it and it is accurately reading that handwriting out loud. So the other thing I wanted to show is you can also have a split screen. So on the top, I'm using the Magnilink Mini, and then here on the bottom, what if I needed to use that iPad camera? So I'm going to put some content right under there and hit my OCR button.
AUBRGRT, I really resonate. How's that?
I think I got it a little bit blurry, so let me try it again. Let's see. Put this up here. Let me hit that OCR so you can see how fast that goes.
Testing every stone before she put her weight on it. Mandy pulled herself up inch by inch. At one point,
So that just gives you an idea of how fast that OCR is and the AI integration. And again, we have webinars that go over the Magnilink viewer in much more depth, but I just wanted to give you an idea of those two things because I mentioned those in our earlier presentation. So iTab with or without an external camera, or you can use it with a mini or one of our other cameras. The next one I want to move on to is our Magnilink S. So the Magnilink S product is here. This is the one that I think people historically have been most familiar with. This is the one that is about 4 pounds, and you can use it with multiple platforms. What we're seeing now is schools who may have used the Magnilink S in the past with Chrome Viewer or with our Chromebooks. Now, if their students have iPads, they already have these ready to go, and they're using them with our Magnilink Viewer software. So this is the Magnilink S. And when I put it back down here, and you can see it kind of in comparison with the Mini. So the Mini, lower profile, smaller device, less weight. And for those who just need that distance, there it is. You just adjust the camera that way, open the lens, close it, and then bring it back down and tilt it out just a little bit, and you've got plenty of space for near viewing. You can see the Mini is smaller than the S. You can, as I mentioned, raise it up. It's got that telescoping feature. And hopefully we will see a feature soon where you can close the tripod and then insert it into, say, a clamp that's on a desk to save you a little bit of footprint on a desk space. Before I go on, I just want to pause and ask Lizzie, do I have any questions so far?
No, you do not.
Okay, great. The third in this family that I want to talk about, so we talked about the Magnilink Mini, we've talked about the iPad, we've talked a little bit about the Magnilink S. The other one that I want to give more attention to that can work with an iPad is the Magnilink Pro. So this is the Magnilink Pro, and you can see, again, the Mini, the baby sister, the S, a little bit bigger, and then you've got the Pro. So one thing I want you to notice with the Pro is the distance between the top of the camera down to the surface of what you're looking at is there's a greater distance here. So I believe with the S, we might be looking at 13 inches, and here we might be up to 17 inches. So that is going to give you a wider field of view, a bigger space to be able to look at things. And it's going to be hard to appreciate because I'm a little bit far away from the camera, but what I have here on the surface is a little circuit board, tiny circuit board. So if I put that under here, and I come over to this iPad and magnify it. So I don't know if you can appreciate how tiny the resistors, it can read it can read like the copper trails on circuit board, it can read the itty bitty numbers that I cannot see with my naked eye on the resistors with this powerful camera. So if you think about environments for your vocational rehabilitation cases, for that veteran who might want to tinker, do woodworking or soldering or building things with tools, in an education environment where you might have a shop class where you're doing this kind of fine detailed work, this is an interesting camera to add to the family of the Magnilink Mini, the Magnilink S, the Magnilink Pro. The other ones I want to talk about are the wireless ones. So you saw the image in the presentation of the Magnilink AirGo. So this is what the AirGo looks like. It is something that can be placed in, say, a congregant environment. So what if you had a school for the blind and you have an assembly, you can put this ergo at the back of that assembly room and have multiple students with their iPads connect to this device. Again, it's got that same high-powered camera, a 30x optical zoom, so a large auditorium type space. This is going to zero in on that content all the way at the front of that environment, and you can pre-position places throughout that environment and move the camera to those locations. A tricky thing with this one is when multiple students are connected to it, they do have the ability to use settings within our Magnilink Viewer app to customize their experience. So they can change their contrasts. They can use guiding lines or masking features. Even from across the room, if there's a PowerPoint, they can capture that with our software and engage the OCR engine. They can use AI if they've got that subscription. What they can't do individually is they can't control the movement of the camera and where that camera is pointing. If you've got 5 students in an auditorium using this and they're all trying to move the camera, that's going to be an issue. So we would have the teacher or someone assigned to put it in the correct position and leave it there. The other thing is the magnification. So that is a function of the camera that needs to be controlled by one person. And of course, people have differing magnification needs. But if you think about the ability to get in here and zoom, pinch and zoom, so some of that kind of functionality you will be able to do just to get more individualized magnification options, even though you can't control the camera zooming in and out, if that makes sense. The final one I want to talk about is our Magnilink Wi-Fi cam. So This box here is our Wi-Fi cam product, and it is a closed router that you can use to wirelessly connect an iPad to this system and have one of our cameras connected here. Again, it can be either an external camera that can come with the Wi-Fi cam, or you can get a version that is just the router box and use one of our other cameras in conjunction with it. So let's kind of go through them again and talk about kind of appropriate cases for these different products. Let's kind of go in reverse. We already talked about uh, big spaces, a need for a powerful camera at the end of a room, and a need for multiple people to be able to connect to that. That's going to be your wireless ergo. The Wi-Fi cam. This is an interesting idea if you've got an environment where maybe a teacher needs to have control of the device. They have a worksheet, they have specific things that they want to show under the camera. Then the student can be back at their desk and using their iPad with that magnified content within our app. And they can use all of the great features in our app, in that Magnilink Viewer app, with a device that's the same device everybody else has. So that's the appeal of having a wireless solution. And then again, when we talk about the Magnilink Pro, if you have people who need that powerful camera, this is a good solution. And again, it'll connect to lots of different platforms. This we think about for more professional environments. There could be some school applications, but we also think about it for hobbyists and professionals who need a lot of power for that detailed work and a lot of space under the camera to be able to execute that detailed work. And then the Magnilink S. My favorite story about the Magnilink S and its ability to be all things to all people is a customer that I have in Kentucky, and she uses that Magnilink S downstairs in her screen and porch. She'll connect it to a monitor, point the camera outside, and enjoy her hobby of bird watching. She's got a series of bird feeders and bird houses, and she'll point that right out there and pop it up on her screen and enlarge it so she can see the hobby of bird watching better. She'll then disconnect the Magnilink S, take it into the kitchen, connect it to an iPad. So now that it's connected to an iPad, she has access to an AI subscription and OCR. So she can look at her recipes, look at product packaging information multiple ways. She can, with her iPad and her Magnilink S, change the contrast. If she's still having a hard time reading something, she can engage the OCR engine. She can also use that AI to dig into detailed information that's just more efficient to capture through AI. She can then disconnect her Magnilink S from her iPad in the kitchen from where she's finished her recipe reading and her meal prep and take that upstairs to her iMac computer, connect it to her iMac computer, and then use the software to be able to read her bills, read her statements. She can drag and drop PDF documents into our software and be able to use it that way. So this truly is for people who need multiple platforms and multiple environments. This is a great device for that. And then our Mini. The Mini is just a great little low profile, low weight, great price point device that is exceptional at that distance viewing. You just turn that knob and boom, now you're at distance, turn it back down, give it a little tilt forward, and now we're at near without needing anything else. So those are the devices that can connect with an iPad. I'm super curious to know if you guys have any thoughts or ideas or questions about how to use our technology with iPads to help help yourself, to help your VR clients, help your students, help your VA clients, or that end user. So if there are any questions, I'd love to entertain them. I see one question popped up. Can't the iPad, iPhone camera do most of these things? Ooh, that's a great question. I think in a lot of instances, yes. And I'll give you an example of where I would say you really are going to need a different solution. I worked with a college student about 3 weeks ago, and the Disability Support Office gave her that as a solution. They gave her an iPad and gave her a stand. So that she could use that camera to hopefully magnify and record her lecture. And it did not work. It didn't work at all. So I went with her to the actual lecture hall where she was trying to use that technology. And the camera wasn't powerful enough. There was a lot of movement, and we looked at both the Mini and the Magnilink S, and the results were far better for the purpose of recording a lecture in a large auditorium setting. And I mean, that's the question, isn't it? With technology out there, more and more and more things are universal design and are built into existing technologies. And we see a need over and over again for the high power cameras that we have to be able to accomplish those tasks. Does the Magnilink Viewer app need to be downloaded on an iPad or other device to use the cameras? That's a great question. So it depends on the camera. Our cameras do need to be with an iPad used with our app. So it depends on the environment. If you're using either the Magnilink Pro or the Magnilink S with just, I'll call it a dumb monitor. So a monitor that doesn't have any computing power, uh, then no, you don't need any kind of app. In order to use some of the more advanced features, you will need a device with a brain. So you'll need a computer, an iPad to be able to use the OCR and the AI features. Did you mention that the MagLink Wi-Fi cam could connect to multiple iPads in the classroom? Lizzie, I'm going to ask you to help me make sure I answer that correctly. I think that's true.
Yes, yes, you can.
Yeah. So there, I mean, there are caveats with a Magnilink Wi-Fi cam. It's a great device. And as with any Wi-Fi cam, not wi with any wireless device, you, especially in education settings, you're going to have connectivity issues. So I think when you provide these in education settings, it's very helpful to have a good relationship with your IT and to make sure if there are any softwares that are loaded on to be protective of students and security and that sort of thing. Sometimes those will interfere with the wireless connection with our Air products, and you'll need to interface with the school's IT to address some of those issues. And also, there's a proximity issue. You need to be within a certain proximity of the school's router for it to be able to perform optimally. Other thoughts or questions? Are there many people who can use the iPad split screen for far and near? That's also a great question, and I would say yes. And I would say yes because um, when I watch friends and or students using some of these note-taking apps, the way that I see them do it is they will pinch and zoom. They'll zoom in heavily and use their Apple Pencil to take the notes and then zoom back out. So yes, uh, and you're right, that's not going to work for all different types of people that have low vision, but for some people it absolutely does work. And some people might toggle that um, back and forth so that they do have a full screen at times, but then they might bop over to their note-taking app and grab some notes while that lecture is continuing to be recorded. What is the distance to the school router for them to be able to work their best? I'm going to defer to Lizzie because I think she knows that answer off the top of her head.
I did test it out, and if you're within about 20 feet or less, that's where it works best. Otherwise, you lose that connection.
While we're waiting for more questions to come in, I'll mention a few more things. Um, we take feedback seriously, and if there are enough people who have the same kind of feedback, that goes straight to our R&D team, and they look at every single one of these. And if it is a repeated request, it will be addressed and it will be answered. So Lizzie, would you pop in the chat or in the Q&A the address for feedback? So if anybody, like if you think, yes, I would love to have a clamp-on stand for that Magnilink Mini, and they hear that over and over again, well, that's something they're going to pay attention to. Please review pricing. Um, I'll review pricing and keep in mind that we have a reseller network, and our reseller network, we provide them with an MSRP price list. And depending on the reseller, they may offer discounts or offer specials to certain types of accounts. I know some resellers have a standard education discount. Some will offer periodic sales. So just keep that in mind when I go over this pricing. So the Magnilink S is $39.95. And if you want to get the additional text to speech, that's a $300 addition. And the Lizzie, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe our subscription for the AI is $300 for 3 years, correct?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. The Magnilink Mini is $27.95, and that one you don't have to get an additional license for the OCR. That's just going to come with the tab viewer or the Magnilink viewer for either your PC environment or your iPad environment. The Magnilink, the Ergo, I'm going to ask Lizzie to help me with some of these more obscure products that we don't sell a ton of. So can you help me with the pricing on that one? And then the Magnilink Pro, the Pro, I believe, is $44.95. And again, you're going to have to add the additional OCR if you want that to be a part of the functionality of that device. The Wi-Fi cam is $36.95. The iTab is also $36.95. If you get the iTab without the external camera, I believe that's $18.95. So we've got a lot of good price points in this family of products.
The Go is $79.95.
And again, I would encourage you to reach out to your local reseller. And if you don't know who that is, you can either reach out to me or to Lizzie, and we will let you know who your local reseller is. And we've got a tremendous network of folks, and uh, they are very accommodating when it comes to different entities that need to work on pricing. The price for OCR, it depends. So if you get, say, a Magnilink Mini, there is no additional cost for OCR. The additional cost for OCR, that is really for other platforms. So if we have, say, a Magnilink S that's going to be working with a PC computer and that PC computer needs PC viewer, then you're going to have that OCR charge. But for our iPad products, there isn't an additional charge for OCR. Chrome viewer, yes. Mac viewer, yes. PC viewer, yes. So if you've got one of our products that's connecting to a different platform, that's where you're going to see that additional $300 for the OCR. Good questions. If we don't have any more questions, I will say thank you for coming and know that we will get this recording edited and uploaded to our website in pretty short order. I would say give us a couple of weeks. We do have another webinar coming up in November. We will let you know what the date is. As precedence with Kimberly, she did an annual kind of give back webinar, and that's what we're looking to do as well. We have a great organization that does some tremendous give back for people with vision loss around the world, and we will interview these folks and kind of put us in a good frame of mind for the holidays. So again, thank you everybody for coming, and please feel free to reach out to me. My name again is Cheryl Sochet. I am the sales director for LVI America. My phone number is 423-493-3971. For those of you, if you're visually impaired, I'm going to spell my first and last name because I get all types of iterations of both. So my email address is Cheryl, Cheryl Saucier, Saucier at lviamerica.com. And then we have Lizzie. Lizzie is the bomb.com when it comes to all things support and helping with getting the orders through. So Lizzie can be reached at lizzie.harris@lviamerica.com. She can also be reached at 423-822-8660. We are always open for suggestions, feedback, so please send anything you got to either one of us. Thank you so much for coming, and that concludes our webinar on iPads and LVI camera integration. Thank you.